Hey, Karen, it's good to see you again. How are things with you?
It's good to see you here as well, Nick. I'm really well. I've been looking forward to our session.
That's great to hear. As we discussed at our call before the first session, this conversation is confidential. So I won't be sharing anything we speak about here with anybody else. It's very much your session for me to explore with you what you want to focus on and how we get you to that point. So please, as well, make notes for yourself.
That's great. I appreciate that. Thanks, Nick.
So, what would you like to talk about this time, Karen?
Well, I have a bit of a challenge with one of my team members, Peter.
Okay, challenge. What kind of challenge do you have with Peter?
Peter is new to the team, but not progressing as quickly as expected. I'm not sure why that is or what I need to do to help him. He may even not be right for the role, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So, what would be a good outcome from our conversation today?
It would be great if we could explore what the reasons for his lack of progress might be and generate some ideas of the next step I could take.
When you say explore there, tell me more about that.
Explore, as in looking at this from different perspectives, what could lie behind it, and factors that influence his performance, and maybe also what I might be doing or not doing to help him.
That sounds good. So, what more can you tell me about Peter and his role that might be useful for me to know?
Well, Peter started with us 3 months ago as a bookkeeper. He worked for a large manufacturing business prior to joining us. He's a qualified bookkeeper with a couple of years' experience and hired to help us get more organised and start to produce monthly management accounts.
So, what do you mean when you say that he's not progressing as quickly as expected?
I appreciate that it takes some time to get used to our business, but after 3 months, we're still not getting management accounts until the end of the following month, and I don't have any cash flow forecast yet. He's constantly asking me questions, and the accounts have many mistakes when first presented to me.
So, I'm hearing three things from you, Karen. Okay, getting accounts at the end of the following month, constantly asking questions, and many mistakes.
Yes, that's right. But the accounts in reality are not even ready by the end of the month. That's when I first see them and then find mistakes which need to be corrected.
So, when would you expect the management accounts to be ready by?
Well, realistically, they're due by the middle of the following month. But more importantly, that I can trust him. I mean, them, the accounts.
Okay, I'm really sensing frustration in your voice. How is this affecting you?
Yes, I am frustrated. He was supposed to help reduce my workload and get us better organised.
So, when it comes to an ideal, what does that ideal perhaps look like for you in this situation?
I want to be able to trust Peter's output. Secondly, that he can work independently without relying on me so much. And thirdly, is to get the management accounts finalised earlier.
Let us first look at what might be causing this and what you can do. What thoughts have you got around possible causes?
Well, my first response would be that he's a bit slow and careless, but that's probably being unfair. He came from a bigger business where all the systems were in place and they probably had processes and procedures better documented. Setting up a new system is probably the first time he's done that.
You also said he asks a lot of questions and makes many mistakes.
In fairness, the number of questions is coming down. Now, thinking about it, I think my frustration is that it's so frequent that he comes and interrupts me to ask a simple question, then 30 minutes later, he's back with another. It's as if he's just one question he needs to stop and get it answered before continuing. It would be much better if he came with all the questions all in one go.
And the mistakes you mentioned?
Well, this is where I feel he's a bit careless. He just doesn't seem to double check that it all makes sense and adds up. I'm now wondering if, rather than being careless, it's more that he feels rushed by that point, so he doesn't take the time to look at it an extra time before handing it in.
So, in this situation, what is it you do know, and what is it you might be assuming?
Most of what I know is from what I see in his behaviours. I haven't really had that conversation with him. So, yes, I'm making quite a few assumptions here, to be fair.
And what might be Peter's perspective on this, do you think?
He says he's learning a lot and starting to understand how it works.
What have you perhaps shared with Peter about how you think he's progressing?
I felt it was too early to share my frustrations. I need to give him a fair chance. But as I prepared for today, I realised it had been preying on my mind for a while. I need to have that conversation.
Is there anything else important for us to consider here?
Maybe just worth noting that Peter quit his previous role because of stress and long work hours. With us, he only works 3 days a week, and then he has a second bookkeeping role for a local charity the other 2 days.
Is there anything else before we start to look at the options you might have?
No, I can't think of anything else at this point.
All right. So how can you start to move this forward?
Well, I think the first step is quite obvious, really. I need to share my concerns with Peter and understand his perspective.
Great. So that's one option. Brilliant. What else could you do?
I could leave it a bit longer to see if he improves,
Other options?
or I could ask for feedback from others in the business to hear how they feel he's performing.
Anything else you could do?
No, I can't think of anything else at this point.
All right. So that's 3 ideas that you've come up with. Which do you feel you'd like to move forward with?
I don't really want to leave it any longer. I don't think this is fair on Peter or helpful for me. I will, however, have a quick word with my co-director to hear what he's noticed in dealings with Peter before I set up a meeting with Peter.
So when will you do these, do you think?
I'll speak with my co-director this afternoon and I'll set up a meeting with Peter tomorrow morning.
Okay. So looking at this, what perhaps might stop you from reaching a good outcome?
Well, I guess I could come across as angry and Peter could take it badly. But I actually feel a lot calmer about it now. I really look forward to having that conversation.
That's good to hear. So, Karen, what did you learn or take from today's session?
Looking back, I was really just looking at the impact on me, my frustration, and not foreseeing it from Peter's perspective. I also think that I waited too long to have the conversation. I need to deal with these things earlier.
Can I share an observation with you as well? It might be useful and also help your self-awareness.
Yes, please.
On a few occasions, you use the words fair, unfair, and fairness within the conversation.
Oh, that's interesting. I think fairness is a very strong value for me. On one hand, I didn't feel it was fair that Peter interrupted me so much, but as we discussed it today, I'm realizing I'm not being fair on him either. Good point.
So maybe this is something we can perhaps explore in a future coaching session.
Yes, please. I'll think more about it as well.
Did we achieve what we set out to today from your perspective, Karen?
Yes, we achieved what I'd hoped for. It has been helpful. Thanks, Nick.
Great. I believe we have the next session in our calendars already, which is great. And so I look forward to seeing you then.
Thanks, Nick. I look forward to seeing you again next month.